Oh, it's so good to be free.
Hi friends, and welcome back to the Homestead Challenge. It is a little bit of a chilly morning here in southern Alabama, but it is early spring. So that means that I get to start planting today. So I'm really excited. If you haven't seen my last video, go check that out first. So that video is all about how we built this raised garden bed behind me here. And today we're going to be filling it with soil. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you want to fill it with soil. At least I think. I'm new to all of this. And I'm also going to be planting some of my earliest crops. I'm just going to be direct sowing some seeds today. So I'm really excited. I hope that this video gives you feels of spring wherever you are. Even if you can't plant yet, it's coming very soon. So keep on watching. So today we are actually going to be filling the beds first with dirt. And what we decided to do was to get bagged soil. Because I don't have a lot of space, we are on a rental property on a military base if you're new here. So I don't have a lot of room. And it's also difficult to get, truckloads of soil here onto base. We don't have a truck. It just made more sense to buy it. So since we're buying bagged soil, it already does have some additives in it. It already has something for aeration, and it does have a little bit of fertilizer. So we decided to do, sorry, my toddler screaming in the background. We decided to do 1/3 compost and 2/3 of the bagged organic soil. We did just get this from our local big box store. We got a lot of bags. We'll see. I got 24 bags for 32 cubic feet of space. So we will see if I calculated correctly or not. And I will be adding a little bit of fertilizer. If you are just getting basic soil brought in that's not already bagged and with any additives, then you're going to want to get something for aeration as well. So you're going to want to get perlite or lava rock, or there's a bunch of little bit of sand. There's a bunch of different things you can add to your soil to make sure that it drains properly. First, before we do our soil, we are going to have to line the bed. So I talked a little bit about this in the last video. We are lining our beds with landscape fabric, but you can also line yours with actually plastic or burlap, just depending on how much water retention you need and whatever's in your budget. So I am going to have a lot of help today from my husband, because if you didn't see my last video after the raised bed video, well, we are expecting baby number 2. So he's going to be doing the heavy lifting, and actually you don't want to get too much in the soil when you're pregnant. There's a lot of debate over that. I'm still going to be planting myself, just making sure that I'm washing my hands really good and everything like that to make sure that everybody stays nice and safe. What you doing in there? As you can see here, we didn't really know what we were doing when we started off, but then with each bed, progressively got better. But it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to see it. It's just to prevent weeds and also to retain the soil, making sure it doesn't come out the sides or anything. So we actually thought that we had way too much soil to begin with, but it turns out if you actually measure your cubic feet and you follow how many cubic feet each bag says that it fills, it's just about perfect. So I guess I should address that we did not use our own compost this year to start our beds off with. We just didn't have enough. We moved into this house at the end of last summer and we just started it then. We just don't have enough, and it's not ready yet. So I'm hoping that that will be ready and we can produce enough more in the hot summer that we will be able to amend our beds with it before the next growing cycle. Here in Zone 8B, we get 2 growth cycles. So a lot of this will probably die off June, July, and then in August, we will get to start a new winter crop cycle. So hopefully we'll get to use our own then. We will see what happens. So as I kind of mentioned when we were building the raised beds, my plan for these are to do 3 different sections. One's going to be cut flowers, one's going to be herbs, and one's going to be vegetables. That is my plan for now. Once I see how things grow, we might need to transplant things. This is my first time ever, so if it is also your first time, let me know in the comments below. you're probably making fun of me right now if you absolutely think that I'm doing the wrong thing. We shall see. So if you would like to join this group of beginner homesteaders, please subscribe. I would love for you to join our community, and let me know in the comments below if you do subscribe. I'd love to say hi to you. I want to meet everybody and truly create a group of everyone learning together, learning how to create their own homemade life. So I have selected some seeds here that I know are going to be, well, that I hope are going to be okay before our last frost date. So our last frost date here is April 1st. You can check yours out. I'll leave a link in the description box below to learn what your growing zone is and to learn when your last frost date is. Most of my seeds on the back of them kind of say if you can plant them or not around that time. Some of these would have been better off if I would have started them inside. I don't have a lot of room inside. It's my goal eventually. I think that my husband should build me a little greenhouse. What do you think? Give this video a thumbs up if you think that he should build a greenhouse. But right now my tomatoes and peppers are started inside. I cannot bring those out yet, but those are taking up my entire bathroom counter, and I have nowhere else to put anything else. So we're just gonna hope for the best with the direct sow this year. What I got going on, I bought everything actually on Black Friday from Sustainable Seed Co. Because it was my first time ever, I just bought packs. One was all vegetables, one was all herbs, and then I got my pollinator flowers. If you are a beginner, that might be a good way to go until you see what you really like planting. Honestly, I think I spent $60 on Black Friday because everything was 20% off. I probably have enough seeds to last me like 3-4 years. So we shall see how this goes. I mean, this isn't even close to all the seeds that I got at that time. But what I'm going to be planting today, I have our carrots, Tokyo long white bunching onion, organic straight 8 cucumber, spinach. Here's my pollinator mixed cut flowers. And then as far as herbs go, I have sage, dill, lavender, cilantro, chives, and rosemary. I'm hoping that all of these do well. I do have a few more herbs as well that I'm going to get started inside. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but I'm going to figure it out. So I hope that all of these do well. Worst case scenario, in April I'll have to buy some plants and put them in here. But let's hope that it doesn't come to that. So I'm going to spend some time now going through all of these. It's going to take me a while. Luckily, each of these little kits came with these little growing guides, so I can tell how far apart each of these need to be. You know, I'm sure for a seasoned gardener, you might just already know. And this is probably way too much to even be planting in this amount of space. That's okay. We will figure it out. Now, when figuring out your planting, one of the most important things to make sure of, especially if you only have one bed like me, is to make sure that your tallest plants are not going to overshadow your shortest plants. So I figured where our sun is, hopefully, that I want my tallest things, which I think are going to be my flowers, on this side, just because that way as they grow taller, they shouldn't affect, they shouldn't shade over my other plants at all. So I'm going to put the cut flowers here, the herbs here, and my vegetables here. I will be putting my tomatoes and peppers in pots because, well, this area is the most sun that I get in my backyard. I still don't think it's enough sun for tomatoes and peppers, so I'm going to actually be putting those either along my fence in pots or even on the other side. So those are the only things I'm not putting in here. Let's get to planting. I am really not sure if I'm going to have enough space to do a lot of this, but we will see. Eventually, as these plants start to grow, I actually might trellis some of them. Right now I'm planting the cucumbers, and they might need a trellis or a stake to kind of spread out because I'm going to probably plant too many. But I really want to make a lot of pickles this year. That was probably way too close together for some cucumbers, but if I need to transplant them once they start coming up, that is okay. I can always move them over. I don't know how people do this on a large scale and don't lose all these little tiny seeds everywhere. Alright, then today, this is my last veggie I'm growing, so I'm only doing 4 things today. There are other things that I will be bringing out as it gets warmer. Like I said, the tomatoes and peppers will be in containers, and if I find that this stuff is all growing way too big, then I might move other stuff to containers too. I have a lot of them. I've I've only ever grown in containers before, so I have a ton. So no big deal there. These are the long white bunching onions. These do say that you should start them in trays. So I'm just going to do some here. All of these seed packets I have a ton left of. So if this doesn't work out, I'm experimenting here. I'm learning. You're learning along with me. We will see. As you can tell by my shirt here, I love Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm. If you are looking for specific information on any plant, she has hundreds of videos on all different types of plants, how to sow them, how to harvest them, and actually I just bought her book on growing vegetables for beginners. So probably should have read that before I started this, but I'm going to read that next, and hopefully that has a lot of information in it. She is an excellent source of information. I just want you to bring you along with me so we can laugh together and experiment and have fun and get outside and try to grow as much as we can from scratch for our kitchens. Like I said, I do have other stuff that I will be planting, so that's why I'm just keeping these all separate for now, but there's plenty of room still in the middle for me to plant some other things. I do have these old little stakes here, and then I have some herb ones here. So I'm going to be making, with my little label maker, all of the labels for these ones. But I do have an onion one already, so I'm going to be starting with that. So now I'm going to do the herbs, which is actually my favorite part. I don't know, am I allowed to have a favorite? I don't know. I just love herbs so much, and I actually have a really cool drying rack that we got this year in my kitchen. So I plan on making excess herbs and drying some of them as well to use all winter long. Plus, buying herbs, especially organic herbs, is really expensive sometimes. So I'm really hoping that helps me out with some cost. And they're just so pretty and fun to have around. So I'm pretty excited for that. And yeah, these are supposed to be started indoors if possible, but we'll just see. It also says not to bury these. So I'm just going to... I really like rosemary. It's one of my favorites. So I'm gonna do probably a higher concentration of this than some things. And you don't bury them, but it does say you can mulch on top of them, which is what we plan to do. So we're going to use straw on top here. If you live in an area that is a lot drier, you might want to use wood chips to keep in a lot of the moisture. But here we actually have to worry about mildew because it is so humid. I'm gonna do chives next. I love chives. You can actually easily grow these indoors on your kitchen windowsill too if you'd like. These seeds look exactly the same as the rosemary seeds, so that's interesting. It's a little weird to me that they're so blue. And because I am a beginner gardener, I'm going to plant things that look vastly different from each other next to each other. That way I kind of know what's what. With herbs, I have a lot better understanding. With the vegetables though, I don't really know what some of those are going to look like when they come up. So I'm going to try to put things that are very different from each other next to each other so I can figure out what's going on when they start to all pop up. Here I have sage. I don't really cook a lot with sage, but it is fun to have around. This one also says to scatter on top. So I'm going to be doing that. But I'm not going to do as much of this just because I don't use it as much. And that's the thing to think about when gardening too. I did get these mixed pack of vegetables and stuff, but some of them are honestly vegetables that we don't really eat in our household. So make sure that you're actually buying things that you want to plant and want to eat. But I do want to plant a couple things that I'm not used to, just because I think that if it comes from my own garden, we'll be more likely to use it, even if it's not something that we typically would normally buy at the store. Next, I have cilantro here. Cilantro is one of my favorites. We have Taco Tuesday every single week. Really expensive to buy at the store, so I'm really hoping that this works. I've never had luck planting it indoors before. It has always just died on me. So we'll see if I do better outside. I'm so excited this year to have some wildflowers. These are specifically cut wildflowers though, so I'm going to be able to cut them and create my own bouquets for inside the house. So I'm very excited about that. This just says to till it all and then run the rake back over it when you're done. I'm going to use this entire packet though, because I'm doing this whole bed just with this one packet. Maybe I don't need the whole packet. It says 25 square feet will be covered with this packet. But you can always oversow. I'll probably do almost the whole packet. Well, apparently I used the entire packet. So that is all I'm planting right now. It is early March in Zone 8B. There will be a few other things that I'm going to be adding here, hopefully soon, as well as in my containers. I hope that you will join me in this journey. I would love if you could subscribe down below, and I just want to do this thing together. So I'm going to get everything watered next, and then I'm going to cover it in our straw to hopefully make sure that the birds and whatnot don't go after the seeds, and also to maintain a little bit of heat because it is still pretty early in the spring. Until next time, friends, happy gardening.